Hello and welcome to the Inside the U live postgame show. A thrilling win for the Miami Hurricanes. They win 75-72. They go on a 10-0 run in the final minute of the game. Jordan Miller carried this team throughout the game, 25 points, 13 rebounds. A lot to get into with this one. Certainly, it didn't seem like Miami was going to win this game. They were down by 18 points early in the second half, but if you remember the last time Miami played Syracuse, they also were down by 18 and came back and won in that game. But I'm not going to lie, this definitely didn't feel like Miami was going to win this game, especially late, especially with a key sequence down the stretch. We'll get into that. There was a 3-minute time where Miami gave up a three, missed a three, and gave up a bucket there, and they were down by 10 with under 3 minutes to go, but Miami stayed with it. Jordan Miller made a number of huge plays, certainly deserves a lot of credit. This team deserves a lot of credit with the fight that they've shown all season long. This was the regular season finale. Miami finishes 22-9, 14-6 in the ACC. Just a thrilling win for the Hurricanes. Everybody should be excited about this team heading into the postseason. Miami will receive a double bye in the ACC Tournament next week in Brooklyn, New York. Miami will play its first game in the quarterfinals on March 10th, so definitely stay tuned with that. Definitely a team to keep. There's teams to keep track of as games go along today. We'll get into the out-of-town scoreboard, take a look at the ACC standings as it pertains to Miami moving forward. But once again, Miami, a big game. I also thought Cameron McGusty came on late with some key buckets. Isaiah Wong as well, 19 for McGusty.
Jordan, just give us 1 second. Hey, Alex. Hi, Bo. Carter, can you start the recording?
Recording in progress.
All right, folks. Before we get to Coach L, we've got Jordan Miller here. 25 points and 13 rebounds for Jordan today. If you have questions, please use the hand raise function to wait to be called on. We will start with from Inside the U. Chris?
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah, Jordan, just what was this like? You get a lot of big plays. I'm sorry. A lot of big plays down the stretch for your team, but you personally, the rebounds. Can you just kind of walk us through what this was like to pull this one off down the stretch?
Yeah, this is a big win. Winning at Syracuse on the road, they're a really good team. It definitely says a lot about our team. As far as, the rebounds, that's just one thing, I take pride in. I said it in the beginning of the season, and it's something, that doesn't take a lot of skill. It just takes effort. It just comes to how bad you want the ball. I wanted to win this game so bad. And, I'm just glad we got it done. We always find a way to get it done, and we got it done today.
Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. Michelle.
Jordan, congratulations. It really was kind of a replay of the last time. You guys went down by exactly 18, which was the same as last time. Did you imagine that you guys would be able to come back again from 18 down, and you were down by 7, I believe, with just over a minute to go? I mean, what was the mindset at that point?
Yeah, it was a lot of positive vibes, coming out the locker room, or even, I believe it was a 12-minute media timeout we were down. We were in that position before, so that's what really kept us going. No one hung their head. There wasn't any emotional baggage. We knew we had a lot of time left, and, basketball is a game of runs. So, I would say we felt pretty good, and there was definitely no negativity going on when we were down by that amount, or any amount, honestly.
Can I ask one little follow-up? The women last night pulled off an incredible comeback at the end, and you guys today, I mean, does one thing feed off the other? Can you just talk about, UM basketball is giving everyone heart attacks the last 24 hours?
Right. I just say Miami basketball just gets it done. You know what I mean? Girls had an exciting win yesterday. We got an exciting win today. I feel like the basketball aspect, we had a lot of fans this year, but we're starting to get that recognition and the love and the support, and we appreciate all of our fans and everything. But we're just trying to make it as exciting as possible for the fans, and obviously get it done for University of Miami.
Thank you.
From Category 5, Brian.
Hey, Jordan. Congrats on the win, and a spectacular play there to end the game. Can you just kind of describe what your feelings were as you saw as you got that rebound and was able to put that last shot in to take the lead?
Yeah, it's funny because me and Anthony, the past 2 games, we were playing this little game in warm-ups where we would just try to tip the ball in first to 3. So I definitely got to give some credit to Anthony. But, offensive rebounds is something I take pride in. And, if the guards are going to shoot, I know I can put myself in the best position possible to get the offensive rebounds. Honestly, for me, it's kind of like a layup almost. I mean, it is a layup, but it's just something that comes easily, and I feel like I have good touch around the basket. But it was definitely a thrill, when I made it. But, there was still time left. So, anything can happen in basketball. So at the moment, I didn't really want to celebrate. I just wanted to get the game. I just wanted to finish the job.
We got time for a few more for Jordan. Zach Macer from the Miami Hurricane.
How you doing, Jordan? Congrats on the win. Very nice win. 2 very different wins between Boston College and today's Syracuse. How are you taking this momentum and putting it towards the ACC tournament?
Yeah, it always feels good to get a win before the tournament. We're trying to use this momentum that we created these past 2 games, and take it into the ACC tournament. We locked in a double bye, so that's good. We're going to have fresh legs. But all it comes down to, being prepared. And then when the opportunity presents itself, coming prepared and ready to do what we have to do to get it done.
2 more for Jordan. We'll go to West Miami and then Chris Stock to wrap it up.
Thanks, Alex. Hey, Jordan, can you just share, obviously when you mentioned, you summed up the words very well, how like you guys just find a way to just get it done. What does it mean to you when you're able to look at your teammates in the face and you guys just literally get the job done, especially when it comes down to a win?
Yeah, that kind of to build off what I said earlier, there's just no negativity. We've gotten crazy win, that came down to the final stretch. So, we're very optimistic and, anything can happen. Like I said, the game's not over until the final buzzer sounds. So, being negative is not going to help anything. So we just stay positive. We try our hardest to do it for each other, for the university, and, just get it done.
All right, last question for Jordan, Chris Stock.
Jordan, kind of staying with that topic, is there somebody in particular that's really rallying or really leading this group when you guys are down or today in particular? And then also, if you could just touch on your role, you go 10 for 13, field goals, you touched on offensive boards, just staying involved with this team, making sure you can be productive. What is it like? How can you explain your role a little bit?
I would start by saying I think it's a group. I think it's everybody on the team who, stays positive. I wouldn't say there's necessarily anyone who, steps up. We have a lot of older guys, so there's a lot of leadership. But I think everybody, from the bench to the starters to the coaching staff, just stays positive. And, we just get fired up because we want to do it for each other in the university, kind of like I said. So, playing for each other, playing with that passion, having chemistry with one another makes it easy, to just give you your all and play for each other. As far as my role, it's just been something I've been trying to figure out all season. For me personally, I just want to do whatever it takes to get done. I feel like me being more aggressive tends to help the team out a lot more. But, I feel like offensively, my role changes every time, or maybe not even offensively, defensively. Like every game, it's something a little bit different, kind of being a guard at the 4 or a stretch forward. But most importantly, I just want to do whatever it takes to get it done, whether it's 0 points, 25 points. At the end of the day, I just want to win.
All right, Jordan, thank you for your time. Congrats on your win. We'll have Coach Ellen shortly, folks.
Thank you, guys.
We'll go right back to Jim Larranaga when he's there, but just a few questions. I thought Jordan Miller explained a lot of things really well, and we'll get into some things. In particular, I was able to ask a few questions there. A lot of guys stepped up, and that's when Jordan with the big day, rebounds and the points and the late buckets. But again, Cam McGusty, 19 points. I want to show the second half here because McGusty, 15 in the second half. Miller got it going again, 16. And Isaiah Wong, 9 points, makes a couple buckets, but those free throws I thought were big to kind of keep Miami in it. And then it just felt like it was either Miller or McGusty kind of late there. And Charlie Moore, not to overlook him, he had 9 points. There, big three-pointer, missed that 3 that Jordan was able to get the offensive rebound. But a lot of positives with this team. I'll answer some questions as we get back into it here, but just want to touch base. But here's Coach.
Can anybody hear me?
Yes, Coach.
Coach, can you hear us? Can you hear us, Coach? Coach L, can you hear us?
Yeah, barely though.
Coach, let's start with the opening statement, then we'll go into questions.
I'm in a boiler room. There's lots of noise and everything, so I'll be quick. As a great come-from-behind victory, Jordan Miller was sensational from start to finish. And, you know, we showed some resiliency like we have all season long. We're now fighting for a 3 seed in the ACC tournament. So the marathon is now over. Now the sprints begin. Every game is one and done. So you move, you win, you move on, you survive, you advance.
All right, folks, if you have questions for Coach L, please use the hand raise function. When you ask your question, I ask you to please speak up. We will start with Chris Stockton inside the U. Chris, go ahead for Coach L.
Yeah, Coach, offensively in the second half, you guys really got it going. What was kind of working? And then obviously, if you could just speak on the final minute, the 10-0 run, to be able to come back there and to win the game.
Well, a number of things were going on. First of all, I thought Syracuse played a terrific first half. They made some shots, made some great defensive plays. We were a little bit, I'll say, passive, but more maybe a little indecisive. We talked about it at halftime. It wasn't so much our offense clicked so well, but we just started playing much better defense, pressuring the ball, getting the game at a much faster pace, which I thought favored us. And then our guys were running and shooting and not having to think too much. They just played on their basic offensive instincts. And several things happened. Guys started making shots, you know, getting Cam McGusty to the foul line area for several jump shots down the stretch. Jordan Miller being around the basket and just finishing so many plays, including the game-winning offensive rebound off the missed free throw, and then the bucket, you know, banking it in was an unbelievable play.
Go to Luke Cheney from the Miami Hurricane. Luke.
Hey, Coach. Congrats on the win. Can you talk a little bit about your decision to have Bensley Joseph guard Buddy Boeheim at one point in the second half and what that speaks to the freshman guard's defensive growth?
Well, from a defensive standpoint, what we were looking to do is put a lot of pressure on their guards. And Charlie Moore was starting on Gerard, Cam McGusty on Buddy Boeheim. But when one of those guys come out, Bensley's strong enough, quick enough, defensive-minded enough that he could either take Gerard or Buddy Boeheim. And so depending on who he was in with, we based that matchup on. He did a good job on whoever he was defending.
Michelle Kaufman from the Miami Herald. Michelle.
Congratulations. Two-part question. Can you speak in a little more detail about Jordan Miller and what he did today? I mean, he really just all the rebounds, everything he got to create the offense. And then how important is it, even though you already had a number 4 seed and double bye, but how important is it for you guys to go into the ACC tournament, you know, with these back-to-back wins?
Well, the first question is, do the students have to wear those lighted blue hats at the game, or that's just a gift that you can take home with you?
She bought that. She's very proud of it.
Okay. Well, will she wear it at the game?
Yes. She'll be able to be seen on TV.
Okay.
She's going to wear that on TV.
I don't get to see the game. I'll be in the air, but when I get home, I'll have it recorded and I'll have a chance to look in the stands and see her smiley face. Jordan Miller is the best offensive rebounder on our team. And it's a skill that I don't know how he's developed it, but not only can he get the offensive rebound, he can tip offensive rebounds in. He's got a great assortment of layups and touch shots. And for him to be able to get that one at the end was really spectacular. And then he made those 2 free throws as well when he got fouled. So he had an awesome game from start to finish, and we're just very, very happy for him and happy that we were able to come away with another road victory.
And how important was it going into the ACC tournament to end on a positive note?
You know, I think the way I look at it is, you know, the regular season is a marathon. And even though we didn't win the marathon, we were right there, you know, challenging Carolina for that third spot, challenging Notre Dame. You know, Duke has kind of solidified themselves as the best team in the marathon. But a new season begins. So we'll see who we play on Thursday. And now we got an opportunity to rest, recover, and prepare ourselves to be the best we can be on Thursday.
We got time for two more with Ryan Kanzer and then Chris Stock.
Hey, Coach, congratulations on the win. Can you just talk a little bit more about, I mean, this team does not give up. They're so resilient, and time again, they've just keep fighting back and never give up. And another example today in the way and the fashion they won. Can you just speak a little bit on how impressive this team is in terms of their resiliency and sticking together?
Well, I've seen it all season long. I saw it in the preseason. The guys are really connected. And when your team has good chemistry and they bond on the court, off the court. Last night at our team meeting, we talked about leadership and how many leaders we have on the team, and basically decided everyone's a leader. Every guy is fulfilling his role, whether it be a Charlie Moore quarterbacking the team or Isaiah Wong being an outstanding scorer and such a consistent performer, and Cam McGusty being one of the very, very best two-way players in the league. He's one of the top 5 scorers, one of the top 5 guard rebounders. He's really good at everything, and most importantly, a great teammate. And then you look at the other guys, got guys like Jordan Miller, who has come in after a very successful career at George Mason, coming in and just trying to fit in and earn his role, and he keeps earning more and more playing time. At one point during the game, I thought we should take him out and rest him. And so I asked him at the timeout, I said, do you need rest? And he said, no, I'm feeling good. So I just left him in. Just keep playing that. You're doing great. And that goes for everybody on the team. Sam Wardenberg talked about in our meeting how much time he spent last year preparing for this season by coming in and watching videotape, not only of our team, but of our opponents, with my former assistant, Adam Fisher, and how much that helped him, and told his teammates and said, look, I would not have had the year I'm having if I had not done all the mental preparation. And now we need more guys to do that. We've got great leadership on this team.
Last question for Coach L comes from Chris Scott.
Coach, you guys improved to 12-4 away from Coral Gables. How important is that moving forward? ACC tournament, NCAA tournament. How important is that? How much confidence can your guys gain from winning away from home?
Well, I will say this: if you look at every league, especially the Power 5, and count the number of teams in the Power 5 that have 10 true road wins to their credit, I think you'll find very few. Today, I counted, there was 5 with 9 wins. So we now are in a very special category of 10 true road victories. I think that speaks volumes about the consistent effort both at home and on the road. When we played Syracuse at home, we were down 18 at one point, came back and won. Tonight, I don't know. I know we were down 18. Did it ever get to 20 or 19?
18 was the highest.
What was the most?
18.
So we were down 18, and we're still able to fight back and win. That talks about the character and determination of our team.
All right, Coach. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
So that wraps up with Coach Larranaga. Jordan Miller joined as well, which was great to see. Sometimes we don't get players on road games. A lot to get into with this game. A lot moving forward that I want to speak on. I'll touch on what I just asked Coach about the road record, and he's right. 10-2 in the road in the conference. It leads the conference. Duke is also 9-2. We could take a look at the ACC standings here. Miami goes 2-2 in neutrals, 12-4 away from home. I feel personally that that's a big stat moving forward. If you're talking about a team trying to win neutral site games, either at the ACC tournament or in the NCAA tournament, you don't always get that, the comfort factor of playing at home. So I think that the team has done that. In addition to these comeback wins, I find that those things to be really important moving forward. And they've beat good teams. They beat Duke, they beat North Carolina. I think that's important because, again, you can talk about confidence, but to have actual results, I feel like that's important, whether it's beating good teams, winning on the road in tough environments, or comeback wins. And I think this is either 4 or 5 times in this season Miami's trailed by double digits and came back and won. So definitely a good stat. Okay, so again, let's talk about Jordan Miller, star of the game today. One of the things I was able to ask him was just with his role. This guy is not the top 3 scorer, and I think it's important for a guy like him to stay active. I think that's why he's so active with the offensive rebounds. You're not going to get plays drawn for you very often as that number 4 option or 5 with Sam Wardenberg there. And he does a really good job of picking certain games like this one. It was a game that was a benefit for him, and he stayed active throughout. He had that big second half, but he didn't go quietly, and I feel like that's important. And we've seen that with this team, with the secondary guys, and Wardenberg's done that at times too, where they need him to step up, and he's done so. Jordan Miller, like Coach said, best offensive rebounder on the team. I thought it was good that Jordan provided essentially maybe something that's helped him with that, and him and Anthony Walker do a little pregame thing early on before games to kind of work on rebounding. So I thought that was good that he gave a shout out to something extra that he's been working on and maybe kind of saying why he's having success. He just has a good feel for the game. Let's talk about some of the key plays here down the stretch as Miami went on a 10-0 run to come back and to win the game. We'll start with the sequence I was talking about earlier. 3 minutes left, about 3 minutes. Gerard hits a 3, Wong misses 1, Boeheim hits a 2. 2.5 minutes left. It's 70-60. You could see it right here as I pull it up. And I felt like at that point, look, Miami had done a good job. They cut it back to 3 at 49-46, but they were down 18. It just kind of felt like at that point that maybe Miami was not going to pull it off. But they were, they stuck with it. McGusty makes a shot, and Charlie hits a 3. All of a sudden, it's back down by 5. And I felt like those were key buckets just to get some momentum that they could possibly pull this thing off. Boeheim makes a couple free throws, and then that's when the turnovers started to happen. I felt like, just seeing the game thread on our website, seeing what you guys had to say about the game, you felt like turnovers, Syracuse was doing a good job of controlling the ball. Miami couldn't get as many turnovers as they would like. They couldn't get the points off turnovers that they typically get until that final minute. It started with Charlie Moore on the jump ball. Miami gets possession there. They take advantage of it. Then Gerard fumbles the ball out of bounds on a hard defensive play by Miller, which could have been a foul, but it wasn't. Did a good job, kind of disrupted him there. And then Miami gets another turnover. So key turnovers, again, it shows not just that this team came back and won after trailing, but maybe sometimes things aren't going as well as they would like in certain areas. They're not creating as many turnovers, but they stick with it. 3-pointers. Miami 1 of 11 in the first half. They stuck with it. They get up some big threes down the stretch. And I feel like that's something that, on a smaller scale, Miami's doing a good job of. If it, not just that they're down by points, but even if they're struggling in certain areas, that they stick with it. Buddy Boeheim, for example, had the big first half, 18 points, finishes with 30. Certainly a huge game. But there were points in the game where they were doing a better job in containing him, and certainly down in the stretch. He makes the free throws, but they didn't allow him to get a big bucket late. Some good closeouts, some good pressure there. And, they're taking things that aren't looking good at times and making sure it doesn't stay like that. They're doing their best job at doing that. So Jordan Miller gets the offensive board off the miss by Moore from 3. I thought that was a bad shot, 28 feet out, but it worked out well. Jordan does a good job, and he finishes, not just gets the board, but finishes it. And one of the things that stands out to me too with Miller, he's not the biggest guy. If you've seen him, he's very, thin guy, listed about 6'7". So he's not one of these guys that just automatically jumps off the page in terms of his rebounding ability, but certainly he has a good feel for the game. And I've mentioned this earlier, but he's such a key focus, or a key part of this team, offensively and defensively. And certainly it showed why tonight. So the other thing, he closes out with the free throws. Miami gets a good pressure on Jimmy Boeheim. The corner three misses. Miami walks away with the win. It happened in a hurry, kind of surprising. But certainly, you should be excited about this team, because this isn't a one-game thing. This is what they've done. This is what they've done on the road. This is what they've done kind of all season. Miami wins 75-72, improves to 22-9, 14-6 in the conference. That's what we'll jump to right now. We'll look at the ACC standings and see where Miami's at. And just definitely a shout out to everybody that's here, and also everybody that watches this back. But certainly the excitement, it's definitely good to see. And this is a great time to get excited about this team as we're into March here. Once again, Miami will play in the ACC tournament on March 10th in the quarterfinals. We'll look at the bracket here. But like Coach said, Miami has a chance at a 3 seed. They're definitely locked into a 4. They own the tiebreaker over Wake Forest because of their 2 games in the regular season that they won over Wake Forest. And then, waiting on seeing how things shake out with North Carolina and Notre Dame. Duke and UNC play at 6 o'clock tonight. And then Notre Dame will look at the live out-of-town scoreboard right here. And as you can see, Notre Dame's up big, 43-25 against Pittsburgh at home early in the second half. I was going to say, it doesn't feel like Notre Dame's going to lose that game. However, an 18-point lead, you never know what could happen. Obviously, Miami gets a win today, trailing by 18. But certainly Notre Dame playing at home, you would expect them to win that one. So if that's the case, Miami would be the 4 seed. And I want to show you the bracket here as it stands. It's a little hard to see. Again, Miami's going to be the 4 seed, it looks like. They'll play the winner of the 5 seed, who will play the winner of the 12-13 matchup. So who are some potential matchups Miami could see in that first round game? And again, Duke is going to be the number 1 seed. So that's who Miami would face most likely if they get to the semifinals, looking ahead down the stretch here. But again, the 5 seed, as we look at it, would be Wake Forest. They're locked into the 5. Virginia goes to 12-8. Wake Forest didn't play today, 13-7. So Miami could potentially play Wake Forest. And if you're curious about an upset, that 12-13 matchup, the teams you're looking at are down in that cluster at the bottom: Pitt, Louisville, Boston College, kind of those teams that are looking at that 12-13 possibility. I don't see any of those 3 teams really threatening Miami. Miami's done a good job against those teams this season. So you got to feel good if you're Miami in the bracket. The way it's looking at this point, you beat Wake Forest twice. Always tough to beat a team 3 times in a season. But if you saw the video I just did earlier in the week with Justin Heller as we did our ultimate draft, that was a lot of fun. It was one of my most fun videos I've put together on the channel. Justin mentioned how they beat North Carolina 3 times that season to win the ACC title, regular season and tournament in 2013. So it can happen. It's just difficult, and certainly Wake Forest will be ready if they get another shot at Miami. Jumping ahead, obviously. Looking at some other games in the ACC, all eyes will be on the Duke-North Carolina game. North Carolina's been playing better of late, so they're definitely a team to watch, and certainly they've played much better than they played against Miami earlier this year. Again, like I mentioned, Virginia wins. Georgia Tech gets a win there as well. And then Virginia Tech and Clemson in a close one. Florida State looks like they're going to win this one. So, and now the Notre Dame lead goes up by 20. So it definitely looks like Miami is going to be that number 4 seed in the ACC tournament. I'm excited to see how this team does, because once again, all of the things that Miami's put together in this marathon that Coach Larranaga likes to call it, I think it's a good thing. And I also think the ACC tournament's going to help prepare them for the next step at the NCAA tournament. Certainly Miami will look to do well in this. And one of the things that's stood out to me with Coach Larranaga over the years, he's got a pretty good record in the ACC tournament. I don't have it here, and I'm not going to fumble through the papers to look it up, but they typically win at least one game in the ACC tournament. That's and I think that they are at that 10 win. I think they've got at least 10 wins in his previous 10 season as coach. So, or definitely close to what I remember. So that's a good sign that his teams have typically played pretty well in the ACC tournament. So certainly a big one here. And the reason why, not just momentum moving forward, but I believe the ACC tournament's going to be very important because there are a lot of teams in the ACC vying to be the second highest seeded team from the ACC. Duke is going to be most likely, they're going to be the highest seeded team in the NCAA tournament. But that next group of teams, I think everybody's in that mix, kind of in that 8, 9, 10, 11 seeding. And Miami, the three outlets that I look at going into today projected as an 8, a 9, and an 11. So again, Miami's in that mix, but all these other teams are too. So I think a good showing in the ACC tournament would certainly help Miami to kind of get the best NCAA seeding as possible. So that will be something to watch for. Like I said, in addition to playing well going into the tournament, you always want to be playing as well as possible. And just looking here, the Ken Palm stats, and just kind of looking how Miami's played down the stretch. They did have those losses to Virginia and Virginia Tech, but they've won 6 of 8 going into the ACC tournament. You feel good about that if you're Miami, but certainly this one should give them a lot of momentum going into it. So if you have any questions, definitely drop in the comments. I'm going to wrap this thing up. If you missed it, Jordan Miller came on, talked about the game, his performance, his role on the team. And then also Jim Larranaga, certainly excited for this win and how this team is playing. He should be excited. To me, this team is just, they do a lot of things well, and that's what's enabled them to get to this point in the season. 22-9. It's been an impressive run so far. 14-6 in the ACC. So I do want to touch on something Coach mentioned when I asked about the offense. Here we go. So again, Miami down 37-26 in the first half, shooting 38%, 1 of 11 from 3. 5 turnovers. It just was not a clean half, and it looked like, it looked like Miami was going to score in the 60s actually, and they've not scored in the 60s since February 2nd, a span of about 10 games until they really got it going there late. And what Coach said was offensively, they just got into a better rhythm with making better decisions, making shots. They were getting into some good spots with Cam McGusty, those 15-footers, which was great to see because with that zone, with that 2-3 zone, there is a pocket there with that 15-footer at the top of the free throw line, especially with, Syracuse not having Jesse Edwards there to kind of man the middle. There was some pockets there, and I thought McGusty did a really good job of exploiting that. Wong getting in there as well, and Miller too. So that was good. And then just kind of flipping it to the second half. Miami 19-30 in the second half. Only 2 3-pointers, but they were big. They shoot 63%. Certainly a really good performance. And they did have the 5 turnovers, but they didn't plague them the way they did in the first half. And when you're shooting the ball well, you can kind of make up for those turnovers. So again, a good sign for Miami. They only get 4 guys scoring in the second half, but I thought that was good. And you see all the other guys who played in the second half, only 1 other guy shot the ball. And I find that to be good too, because you don't want guys coming in feeling like they've got to do their thing. Look, if it's not your day, if it's someone else's, you got to let them do their thing. And I thought that was something that stood out to me, not just with the bench, but in particular with Sam Wardenberg. He only goes 1 for 4, but I thought that was good. You don't want a guy like Sam, going 2 for 9 or really putting up a lot of shots when it's not your day. Get these other guys involved, and they did a good job of that. Particularly with Jordan, you see the 13 shots, and McGusty got it going as well. So I do want to wrap this up here. Appreciate everybody for being here. If you have any questions, I do want to scroll back up here. Somebody was asking about the baseball. I plan on doing a live show on Sunday. I noticed Yeah, sometimes they don't post the press conference stuff. Let's see here. But yeah, but anyways, I'll go through this if there's any other questions. But definitely, I know you guys are excited about it. Yeah, as far as just I see a question if the team is healthy, they're healthy. I mean, you look at it, the 5 starters over 30 minutes for all of the guys. They look good out there. Nobody's dealing with any health issues to be concerned about. And then, the guys off the bench, this is what we've seen, 12, 13 minutes for Joseph and Walker, and then Gak and Poplar, 3 to 5 minutes. This is exactly the rotation we're seeing pretty much, most of the season. So certainly everything's kind of going in the right way for Miami. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. I'm stumbling here, but I want to thank again everybody for being here. And if you have any questions, definitely drop in the comments of the video, or definitely, go back over to InsideTheU.com and comment there as well. I'll try to answer some questions, but definitely thanks again for watching, and take care.